Hi, this is Rene Ritchie from the iPhone blog, and this is the Smartphone Experts Round Robin Year 3. I am sitting here with the best source of information about Blackberries on the planet, Crackberry Kevin.
It's great to be here, Rene. Thank you for that introduction. Too kind. You're too kind.
I am not kind enough because you have given me a BlackBerry Storm 2, the do-over. And what I noticed...
the mulligan. I like the mulligan.
The mulligan. What I noticed immediately is I am trying to sure press, and yet surely it is not pressing.
That is correct. With the original BlackBerry Storm, there was a mechanical button behind the screen, which you couldn't turn off. With the Storm 2, it's now electrical with 4 buttons, which means power that baby on.
It's powering.
I think you broke it. Click it again.
I'm going to click it again.
I think you might have powered it right off instead of standby. There you go. Oh, no, now you turned it off.
We'll fix this in post. All right, so now I have, and now if you notice the entire time there, it pressed.
I'm not sure why our network's turned off. We should turn that back on. You can learn how. So a couple ways to do it. One would be going to manage connections, or you can just click on there.
Oh,
and then let's just turn on the mobile network. There you go.
So tell me, besides the sure press, what is different about this generation of Storm?
With this device, they fixed up a lot of the little nagging issues that were on Storm 1, which were largely hardware-based. At the bottom you can see the buttons are now built into the screen.
They're flush.
Instead of having buttons, we can pull in an old Storm here and you can get the comparison of having individual buttons where you had sort of shining light coming through. You can see if you even flip the device around, they've gone to rubber texturized buttons, and on the back, the music port here is now flush mounted. They got rid of these fish hooks.
The claws, yeah.
The claws. There's no more speaker placed back here where you have these annoying feet that were required before.
So is it fair to say it's more of an increment? This is what the Storm should have been?
Correct, yeah. That's, I don't know if, Rim would want me to say that, but I definitely think this is what the Storm 1 should have been. But the Storm 1 sold a lot. It was a good learning experience. Rim's first crack at a touch screen after...
The first crack at the berry.
Exactly.
All right, but this is not really the berry that I wanted to look at. Last year, during the round robin, I had this baby, the Cadillac of smartphones, the wide, luxurious keyboard, the Bold 9000, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And this year, boom, we have the new king of the keyboard. And this is a 9700?
This is the BlackBerry Bold 9700, that's right.
Do I call it the Boulder?
You could call it the Boulder if you like, yeah, that'd be fine.
And this one, they still haven't fixed the touchscreen on this model, though.
It hurts me. That's like taking a stylus to my eye.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so now this runs BlackBerry OS 5.0, right?
Correct, that's the latest. So does the Storm 2.
Okay.
It's the latest firmware operating system version.
And did you guys finally get cut and paste too?
Yeah, we've had it as long as I've been using Blackberries. Back to when they were really big and really blue.
So then what did you get in 5.0?
5.0, there's a few, end consumer things, but you got to remember, not a lot is missing from the BlackBerry operating system to the end consumer. So they did a few things. They added like flagging to emails. They added some new options. So if you click your menu key right now,
is this my menu key?
That's correct. Yeah, the BlackBerry button. You can scroll down and there's
and there's no ball anymore.
No, there's a trackpad, optical trackpad. It's
almost like a multi-touch mouse.
Yeah, it's very cool. You can select options.
I'm gonna go okay.
So this is like a new screen that wasn't there before. Very minor stuff, and considering you haven't touched a BlackBerry since the original Bold to this, there's probably not a lot you'd notice.
Okay.
The biggest thing they did was kind of behind the scenes, where they've laid the groundwork for a lot of future work. And at the recent BlackBerry Developer Conference, a whole bunch of APIs and tools got announced. OpenGL's coming, 3D graphics for Storm 2 and new devices.
And that means you'll get like iPhone quality 3D gaming
much better stuff coming. We've already seen demos of it. So really this year brought a lot of incremental hardware improvements. The software right now is kind of incremental improvements from a user perspective, but those software updates put out a new framework that's going to put, for the 4th annual round robin next year, I think you'll be seeing a lot of good stuff happen.
And you're getting a WebKit browser too, aren't you?
Yeah, they announced it officially. They started by acquiring a company called Torch Mobile, who, is sort of probably a knowledge acquirement. They bought some talent there. Those guys really know their stuff, and now they're bringing WebKit. Flash support is coming. The native browser is getting better. Even as it is here, it's a lot better than it was. It now ships with JavaScript turned on by default.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, my goodness.
So JS is there. Things are rendering, a little quicker, a little better. There are third-party browsers that are decent too.
And I noticed a little tiny cursor.
Yeah.
So, as an iPhone user, Kevin, and I know you love us iPhone users,
I do.
What should I be looking at at this device? What should I pay particular? Is it App World? Is that the the closest thing to an iPhone related big news story of the year?
I mean, App World for RIM. You can't really say it's newsy anymore.
Okay.
It was something they had to do. You could always get BlackBerry apps before.
Yep.
You could come to Crackberry.
I got mine at Crackberry.com.
Exactly. But App World, in terms of for the whole company, is really important because now they're putting apps front and center. When RIM's strength has always been communication tool, utility, productivity. But consumer, smartphones are becoming an every person type of thing.
Yep.
What consumers expected of a smartphone is different than it was a few years ago.
And let's face it, your mom's not going to get a bed server next to her furnace.
No, not unless the salesman comes knocking on her door, right? But she might have trouble saying no then. But,
oh no.
But App World is big for them, and it's growing. There's some really great apps coming out, and there's a lot of, RIM's trying to do transformative. That's their keyword, is transformative experience. So it's not just an app on your phone. They're trying to put out apps that actually
Michael Bay
change your life and the way you work and use your phone.
Would the same app work on this that would work on the Storm 2? Could I download the same application and have it run on both?
You can. The Storm 2 has the ability to sort of disable it so it runs the apps built for here on here.
Okay.
But the best BlackBerry apps, there's a Storm version, there's a Bold 9700 version. It's definitely a more complicated process than developing for, let's say, iPhone. You have many devices. Now you have touchscreen, non-touchscreen, and you have different screen resolutions.
Yeah.
So some apps will work fine across all devices, but I'd say the best developers definitely make sure they build a version of each one or for each device to make sure it's optimized.
All right, outstanding. And you also, I think you mentioned during the podcast that they have web apps, localized web apps now, almost like Palm or the iPhone.
Well, so what, the term widgets gets used a lot, and typically it's, some little thing on your screen that shows the weather or whatever. And RIM's using widgets in the broader sense, and what they've done is, it's a Java platform, and typically all apps have been programmed and developed in Java. What they've done with widgets is they're allowing web development tools that are, typically used by web developers to build websites to now build BlackBerry apps. So you can use all the tools you like, Dreamweavers and everything like that, and basically build an app, and then bang, it gets pushed out, compiled, and runs on your BlackBerry, no problem. And RIM's really trying to up that presence. So even at Mobile World Congress this year, they're basically going to pack up a big crew of people, go out and run a DevCon within MWC, because they're really trying to broaden the base. And they announced a big partnership with Adobe to bring basically BlackBerry development within Adobe tools, web development tools. So you're going to see regular web developers buy the latest version of Adobe. I forget what version.
Adobe, CS4, but CS5 will be the next one.
CS5, and there's going to be tools for developing for BlackBerry right in there.
I'm sorry to hear that, Kevin. Quite frankly.
Yeah, no, it's you just watch. You're going to be building BlackBerry apps, Rene.
Yeah, well, I know that you've threatened to make me an iPhone blog app for the BlackBerry already, because you said even you'll be able to make them. I
think maybe my circa 1997 web skills might be enough to pump out a decent BlackBerry app now.
Mad web skills.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. It looks more like BlackBerry took a different tactic. They didn't reset like Palm, but they evolved to cover up what they needed to.
Yeah, I think they had their long-standing checklist of things that were missing and things that developers wanted and consumers wanted, and especially the last few weeks with the developer conference, it was like a 3-hour press release, just announcement after announcement after announcement. And talking to developers, they're very happy with the current state of affairs. So, now I think what maybe needs to happen is, we went from one Bold to a new Bold and an old Storm to a new Storm. I think what the market wants to see, the investors want to see, a lot of the tech bloggers who like to write about the top of the market, they want to see some sort of super BlackBerry, maybe a new form factor, or take a bigger risk on the OS and make some big changes.
Right.
But in the meantime, it's been sort of stable growth and building on what works and fixing what was missing.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Kevin. Look forward to using it.